Hi, my name's Nisha Souza, and I'm going into my third year on the Cambridge Graduate Course in Medicine. And this video is a bit about finances, the costs that you're going to incur doing the graduate course. So the main points are as follows. The Cambridge Graduate Course in Medicine is open to home fee paying students only. So if you don't pay home fees or you're not eligible to pay home fees, then unfortunately you can't apply for this particular course. In your first year, you can get a student finance loan from Student Finance. And even if you don't want to get a loan from them, you should still be assessed in order to get the Cambridge bursary. And the Cambridge bursary is open to Cambridge students, and it's a grant that you don't pay back. In years 2, 3, and 4, you can get some student finance, but this is reduced. And you can also get the NHS bursary, which again is a grant that you don't pay back. Just to make everyone aware that all the numbers in this presentation were right at the time of researching, but they may change slightly, and all the values are for people who are studying outside of London and not living with their parents. So if you're studying in London, then you'll get more money, and if you live with your parents, then you'll get a bit less. Particularly relevant for graduates is the independent student status, which I will go on to explain or try to explain next. So just to preface with this, the independent student status is quite complicated to get your head around. There's a lot of different information out there. If I'm not clear here, please do reach out with any questions that you have, and we'll try and clarify further. But essentially, the independent student status means that rather than being assessed for any finance around your parents' income, you'll be assessed based on yourself. And there's many different criteria that can allow you to be classed as an independent student, and they vary slightly between student finance and NHS bursary, although there are quite a few overlapping reasons. I think the main point to point out here is that for student finance, you're automatically classed as independent if you're 25 or older. But for the NHS bursary, if student finance class you as independent for any reason, you'll get the NHS bursary. However, if it's for the reason of being over 25, then student finance had to have done this in the previous academic year. So if you turn 25, then that is your reason for being an independent student, you won't get independent student status for the NHS bursary until it's been a year since student finance have granted you that status. But there are lots of other reasons that you might be classed as an independent student. For example, if you care for someone, if you've been in care, if you supported yourself through your earnings or benefits, if you've been married, in a civil partnership, if you're divorced or widowed. And there are all these lists that we can direct you to for reasons of being classed as an independent student. So for year one, there is a big upfront cost of about £3,465, and you can't use a student loan to fund this. This has to be paid directly to the university, and you have to pay for it out of pocket. So just to be aware of that, so that's quite a large amount. You can get a student loan, and that's split into two parts. So you get your tuition fee, that's paid directly to the university, and you get a maintenance loan that is means tested and based on your parental income or your own if you're classed as an independent student, and that will get paid to you. And you're also eligible for the Cambridge bursary, which is based on your parental income, or if you're classed as an independent student, then you'll get an enhanced bursary of £5,600. Other costs in first year, not an exhaustive list, but the main ones are a lab coat and safety glasses for dissection labs, which is approximately £20. And because you'll be starting your clinical years straight away, you'll need a stethoscope, and that will cost you £60 to £100. So in years 2, 3, and 4, your maintenance loan from student finance will drop a lot. So you could get up to 1,902. And if you saw on the previous slide, the max loan that you could get in your first year was over 9,000, nearly £10,000. So that's quite a significant drop, and it's important to account for this because although you then will get an NHS bursary, which you get £1,000, which is non-means tested, and then you can get a little bit more on top of that based on your household income. This doesn't necessarily add up to the over £9,000 that you might have gotten in your first year. So it's just important to think about how you might be able to finance that. But if you're really worried about that, it's worth speaking to your college because they might be able to help. And then the NHS bursary covers £3,715 of tuition fee, and you can continue to get tuition fee loan from student finance to help pay for the rest of that. You continue to get your Cambridge bursary, and it's important to note that in year 4 you might get slightly less money overall. In year 3, you can choose to do an elective. Well, you do an elective, but you can choose to go abroad with it, or you can do it at home. But if you do it abroad, which a lot of people do, then that will cost you some money. But there are grants available. These may be national grants, or you may be able to get some money from your college to help you fund your elective. And there's some notes here on paying back student loan. So your undergraduate degree will continue collecting interest as you study this degree, but the interest it collects varies depending on whether you're studying at that point. So your undergraduate degree won't collect the studying percentage whilst you're not studying the undergraduate, but you're studying the Cambridge bursary, if that makes sense. It will get a lower percentage whilst you're studying your next degree. But the main point is that you will be collecting interest on that loan, and it's the same as if you'd already started paying back your undergrad degree because you're working in between this undergrad degree and your graduate medicine degree. You might have started paying back. Okay, you know what, I'm going to start this slide again because I made that horrendously complicated. And here are some notes on paying back. Your undergrad degree will continue collecting interest whilst you're studying, and you will only start paying back when you're earning over a certain threshold, which is the same as your undergrad degree. So if you have any questions, then please do head over to our website, camwams.co.uk, or you can message us on our socials. Thanks for listening.